early game. You've got two lanes already that look pretty solid with the Gnar and the Lucian.
I would actually like them to save counter pick for Kanavi. I actually think the Trundle is a really big deal because with the Yunara composition, you would kind of like to be able to run a tank, right? Front to back could be something that you could do here. Instead, looks like HLE are going to
Kiana
save counter pick for Zeka, and Kiana going to be locked in for Kanavi.
Or the other.
I'm nervous.
Plus the new DPLUS Solid, the jungler who played Jarvan into Kanavi's Kiana did not have a fun time, but Lucid is a bit of a different beast. As we'll see what they decide to do here. Will it just be the Varus? Instead, looking for the blind Ahri. Ahri Jarvan is a pretty strong setup and works well for picks, but doesn't necessarily work well with Yunara Lulu in the same sense.
All right, Syndra instead.
Okay, so Syndra, not a whole lot left to counter that either. It basically just is Showmaker saying, I'm so good at this pick that I'm going to get prio into whatever Zeka shows.
Give me the Aurelia. Do it. Don't be scared.
Now, this is a matchup that Keen once wisely said that most people consider the Gnar to be the counter, but he considers the Jax to be the counter. And I think that is in the eye of the wielder, right? And if she was confident that he can pull this off, it is a heavy risk, but it works so well with Lulu Jarvan. And follows up to Syndra really well. You can see a 75% win rate. I think it's only been played 4 times this entire season. It's the year long. So very niche pick right now that Shiu is just going to slam down. This is what Shiu's done so much this year, is just saying, I'm not going to do conventional. I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm really interested in how the Jax is going to go. Because Shiu has found himself in difficult positions with some of his picks, but has also really popped off on a few of them as well. As Zeka was thinking about whether it was a Sylas angle, he's decided it's not, as the Galio does come in. This will be able to help Kanavi stay alive in some of these fights, and also with the Gnar bouncing in, you can get in on top of him with that Gargoyle and provide a bit of a frontline, because there is not a lot of frontline for HLE right now. And so the Galio, being a very tanky boy, will be able to help out there.
I'm actually a big fan of the
Scared of the Gumayusi Lucian, and let's see whether it's going to demonstrate exactly why as we get onto the Rift here for Game 3. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the final game of this series. Who will it be? The EWC title holders or the MSI champions to win this one? As Zeka's gonna face check! Oh God! He gets a big old taunt, and he does flash away, but Keria is flashing after him. The only one to do so, Glitterland slows him down. Another couple of autos, picks, help him out. As Lucid gonna need to drop a flag. They are hard committing for this. The flash forward, the heal. Zeka's still alive as finally he goes down, and Smash gets first blood.
That's the problem with the escape attempt here from Zeka, is it turned into a 3v3 situation where, you know, he's just not going to be able to escape. Really, like, he wasn't going to be able to escape no matter what, but he gave the opportunity for someone other than a Lulu to get the kill. If he had just let the kill go over to Keria there, I'm not sure if Keria would have been able to drop the kill and just sit there. Either way, you know, a lot of summoners expended here for the side of DPLUS. Keria down his flash. Smash also committed his barrier in the play, which will hurt the 2v2, as you can see here.
Yeah. Smash looking a bit worse for wear, as we can see. That Glitterland's helping out, but HLE still in a phenomenal position. It looks like Smash is going to have to go back, and very happy that he gets... Oh, the flash forward from Shiu, but Zeus, he's got Mega Gnar coming up, and now Shiu without that flash. Oh, man, still going to be able to create enough distance, but he's going to have to go home and expend that teleport.
Oh, that was a crazy moment there. I thought we were maybe about to witness the beginning of a Shiu collapse, but he does recover well. Now Smash gets the kill, buys a call.
Oh dear. Keria very dead. Yeah. So HLE going to deny so much experience from the bottom lane.
And I don't think there's really anything that Lucid can do to punish this by crossing the river or anything like that. I was just going to say that, yes, Smash gets the kill, but he had to use so much to do it. In retrospect, is it really helping him out that much? Because that money doesn't instantly convert into a 2v2 win. He has to get pushed out of the lane, or he is pushed out of the lane in the follow-up. And then Kanavi gets over here and gets the freebie set up for Guma. So now Guma has the kill and the advantage in CS. So it is a give and take, a little bit of push and pull here.
Yep.
no summoners committed by Guma or Kanavi on that play either. So
the biggest winner is Showmaker. You can see it's 24-9 in CS in that mid lane. Not the greatest of moments because Zeka did get chased down and die. And I think that chase down is actually even more horrible.
Exactly. He spent so much time.
Yeah, exactly right. It's now Smash trying to fight against Gumayusi, but I don't think he really wants to. He's already going to have to go back home once again. Fire kick is going to connect here. Slurkle goes wide. Keria taken out, and Gumayusi on 2-0.
And suddenly, Smash getting first blood might have been the first domino for HLE to get a huge bottom lane lead because he's pushed out. They get the dive onto Career, and for some reason, Smash, I guess, didn't press tab. Thought he had the edge there in this one. Campfire is rolling, and there's 2 longswords in Guma's inventory versus a Cull, and that sickle is not going to reap anything here for Smash in that 2v2.
Yeah, another fire kick is going to push Smash away from the minion wave, and this is slowly but surely going from bad to worse. As
We're going to need help here, and Lucid is coming down.
Yeah, he's skirting the vision as well quite nicely. That control ward doing nothing right now, as they did have information that it was there. Delight going to throw that fire kick over. They do get wind of this Jarvan's position. Let's see whether they can outplay this. Flash and barrier both up and available, like you were saying. Relentless Pursuit now going to be used. The Smash is almost dead. He gets the shield from the barrier. And yeah, Lucid's just going to have to escort him out of there.
Kanavi still has Flash as well. I think he should be able to escape, but again, he's out of the lane. And Guma played that so well. He's like, I have barrier advantage for a few more seconds, and there might actually even be able to turn this into further advantages now, as yes, Smash is going to be able to back, but there's 2 members here who don't have a whole lot of help.
And this Yunara is not getting any minions anymore. That Cull is taking a while to stack up. Good hop there from Zeus to get out of the way of Shiu, who's taking hyper damage here in this top lane. And, you know, Keen's school of Jax versus Na is maybe a class that Shiu skipped, perhaps, because this lane is not going the way that they really want it to. It is early days, so it shouldn't be the end of the world. But let's have a look at this one from Gumayushi's perspective.
Yeah, Smash just taking so much damage here because he has 2 longswords. And he's got a Lulu here that's just not going to offer that much damage or utility when you're that far behind. And Lucian's passive is just procking and popping. I actually prefer what I wish we saw the first-person view of what happened when Lucid came down and Guma was able to react and realize he had actual kill pressure there as well.
Well, you can see Smash standing his ground. I don't know whether he really wants to, as he's taking so much damage. Delight shows up. Slurkle is going to be there to do a bit of damage to Gumayusi, but Kanavi, he's back in this bottom lane, and there is no vision here for DPLUS. Finally, Control Wall goes down, gets the bad news that he's once again going to have to go home.
Yeah, and Lucid's farming the minions, but Kanavi is farming this bottom lane. Even though he's behind a camp right now, he is doing so much to get Guma accelerated in this one. We talked about weak side Guma. This is the antithesis of that, where Kanavi lives in the bottom lane and Guma is set up to succeed. 700 gold ahead, playing this bottom lane brilliantly, following up incredibly well, and now Smash, you know, he picked up that Cole, but he's not even farming that because he can't get any of these minions.
Yeah, he's only managed to get 30 on that one. Went back and bought the Cole with 6 CS, which is just a pretty sad one. Lucid comes on over, just bonks Zeka on the head momentarily, and does force him to miss out on that cannon. So still, I mean, it is a big lead for Showmaker. He's 600 gold ahead, but I mean, everywhere else is HLE favored, and Gumayusi has an even larger lead than what this Syndra has been able to put together. Now, outplaying the Syndra as the Lucian will be hard if she does get accelerated.
Yeah, that's true. Because she will just simply be able to, with any sort of setup, including her own, just press R and do burst damage. But it takes a while for us to get to that point. Because, yes, she's right now 700 gold ahead of a Galio who doesn't have money. Whereas Guma is actually on 2 kills, has 2 items, or 2 components rather, is looking for that first item, Essence Reaver, here pretty soon. And he is going to actually be online right now. There is no, like, later necessarily. He's just ready to continue to further this advantage, give his team dragons, and fight every fight that DPLUS present to him. So I agree with what you're saying. I think there are tools here to shut this one big win con down, but consider also the Jax is behind.
Yeah.
Not having a good time. And it's crazy how volatile that level 1 went, right? This is the kind of thing it's hard to scrim for. This is the kind of situation it's hard to identify what the correct play is. And I think the rest of the team were able to figure it out for DPLUS, but in the follow-up, Smash didn't play the 2v2 as correctly as I think he should have. He played it way too aggressively and basically tested Guma. And Guma passed the test and got so far ahead in just straight up 2v2. And then Kanavi had such an easy lane to play through. So level 1 looked like it was a win for Smash, but what happened next was the bigger problem. And now I just don't know. It would be such a tragic way for this series to end is if Guma becomes too big to fail and DPLUS don't get to play this 3rd game. But that does seem like the trajectory we're on right now is that Essence Reaver is done for Guma.
Whoa, that's a nice double gnaw there from Zeus. Gets the barrier out of Smash. Still gonna have to walk away because there's not a lot left in the tank. There is a decent little taunt to move on in, but it looks like HLE are focused on the grubs. They'll take all 3 of them without anyone really here to try and contest. And so Lucid just going to be clearing out what camps he can find right now. And the gold advantage for Guma is only extending. Boomerangs flying around. At least now, Smash and Keria will have some time away from the very dangerous Lucian, and it's Shiu that has to now deal with it.
Yeah, Guma just has to play safely here as they're just trying to funnel money into Smash and Keria on the other side of the map while also putting the pressure onto this Gnar. I mean, Guma, with Essence Reaver, I guess he doesn't really need to play safely in this matchup. He's got Relentless Pursuit to avoid any sort of engage from Shiu. Shiu has flashback, so that's somewhat scary, but now Delight's here, and he is just going to be living in the lane swap meta.
Yep.
And we all know how that goes.
Just not a whole lot of fun, I would say, for the Jax.
Meanwhile, the Gnar is doing the same, but already had a lead, so it's kind of just chilling because Gnar is also a ranged champion. It's very difficult to punish here by a Yunara Lulu lane, even with level 6 now here for Keria. If he had level 6 a moment before, might have been able to make a play there, but now just kind of has a 6 next to his name that he won't be pressing the ultimate button for anytime soon.
All right. Jax was a decent champion in the lane swap meta, but Lucid gonna be still coming on over to try and defend. Counter-Strike can just make things awkward and annoying, and so see whether he can actually use that effectively. As you can see there, uses it to go in and take down the majority of those range minions.
Look at these early spikes. You got the Essence Reaver, you got Profane Hydra, you got Zeus,
who's flashing as Smash gets the Arc of Ruin, but not going to be able to do enough. Still, the hop into the flash going to be enough to get Zeus out of there, but now will not have flash.
All right, now they have Galio ult here to try to chase Shiu down.
He has to flash to get out of the way of that culling. Kanavi was already on his way over.
Looks like it's going to be an early first brick here for HLE as they just push him out.
And that's even more money.
He's lost his flash. That's a huge tool for him to try to do anything in this lane swap. He needs that. Okay, we'll get the first brick on this next wave. But he needs that flash if Lucid's going to come over and bail him out, right? But now he doesn't have it. Lucid wasn't there in time. And it's just a big disaster here for DPLUS and HLE. They're making all the right choices. Kanavi knows where his pressure point is, and he and Guma are running away with this game.
They really are. And so now it feels like Showmaker versus Gumayusi. That is kind of this game. And I don't know whether this Syndra is going to be enough to be able to take him down, because Guma can really take over team fights on this champion. We'll have so much more in the tank after that initial round of spells. As now without flash, Zeus might be susceptible. As the counter-strike comes down, holds the leap strike nicely to Shiu, so he stays in range. Still, Zeus going to push them away. He didn't have ulti.
Yeah.
They still just back off.
I mean, Keria could have looked for the wild growth there. They just didn't have information in the river, so they were like, I don't like the way this looks. I know Kanavi's very likely nearby. He was, but I think there was a small window where they could have tried the wild growth. They just didn't have the information, so Zeus walks away scot-free, and now it's HLE the aggressors.
Yeah, Gumayushi's also walking up. Supreme Display of Talent is completely avoided, but there's the heroic entrance. Wild growth onto Lucid to make him a bit tankier. Big old taunt comes down as even Sekka getting involved. Zeus gets put into the Cataclysm, tanks up the turret. Lucid almost manages to make it work. They go 1-for-1 on the junglers, and it's way closer than I expected in that moment.
Unfortunately, they don't have enough damage there to actually get the big punishes when the CC came down. Ends up being the 1-for-1 there. Looks like it was potentially going to be much worse there for DPLUS. The Kanavi ultimate really didn't get a ton of value the way they wanted it to with the instant flash. But in the bottom side of the map, at least Smash for DPLUS is able to get some gold. So watching this here, see the flash comes through instantly. They try to turn this onto Kanavi with a wild growth stun combo, but there's no damage, and he's not undeterred anymore. So they turn on to Zeus, he's got Mega. In the mid lane, looks like Showmaker trying to make a play. Unsuccessful, and this ends up being a 1-for-1 here. Zeus walks away again scot-free.
Well, they try and get that information as to where Gumayusi is. Showmaker still just hunting for some Scat of the Weeks, and he will be able to find it.
Getting a dragon here is pretty big for DPLUS, considering the game state.
Yeah, it might help even things out a little bit. It is a 2,000 gold advantage for HLE, but feels like that could have been worse. Still giving up an Ocean Drake, not exactly end of the world, as Smash will be able to crash another wave towards this bottom side. Has cashed in the Cull as well. It's helped try and claw back that gold advantage. It's a Hextech all this game as well, which is kind of ridiculous.
Again, it feels like it's Hextech all the time these days. Smash getting a lot of money here, and Zeka is also being denied gold, so that's still good for DPLUS. And the fact that the Jax got the kill topside means that all it takes is just one moment where the map gets opened up, and Shiu is a strong side laning champion in this game, even though he's holding none of the grubs. So like, there are ways back into this game for DPLUS. I wouldn't predict it yet that they could actually make that comeback happen, but Zeka's not getting money. There isn't a punish here, and Kanavi's not getting the cross map either. It's a race.
Grumpy Teemo, as it is going to be Zeus that locks down that first turret. It's immediately answered here on this bottom side. I think HLE are the team under pressure, though, to make something happen, because all of this spare time that Smash has is working out for him as, the buffer on the flag and drag. It looked almost by accident there for Lucid, as Scat of the Week is going to connect onto Kanavi.
Lucid's face there makes it feel like it definitely might have been. You see it on the player cam if you roll it back. But either way, he gets out there as fast as he can and is able to buffer that stun. The turret trade isn't first brick for HLE because they already got that one on the bottom side, but they get a second one. But the fact that DPLUS are trading turrets, again, at this game state, with the Lucian, Guma being this far ahead, is pretty crazy. As Guma's, I don't want to say he's going to struggle to get a bigger lead here, but it's not going to be as easy now as it was in the bottom lane. And they turned this lane swap, even though it was a big sacrifice for Shiu, into kind of a big success.
Well, Scatter is going to connect onto the Melio. Force of Will, the ulti, and Showmaker just pops to light like a balloon. Kanavi trying to take down this Rift Herald. He will be successful. And let's see whether he can get it out. The answer is no. Down goes the Kiana. Now Smash is flashing in. I'm not sure about it, but the rest of his teammates are there to back him up. And down goes Zeus. The Inara is now officially online.
The eye is on the ground. Atlas.
Oh, no.
You got the gold from the Herald, but you lost your lead. Smash only a kill behind now. As we watch this again, first scatter, boom, Delight's chunked. Ult comes through, he's burst. And they still hold the Herald here, even though they're outnumbered. Look at where Zeus is right now, or sorry, where Zeka is right now. He's so far away. It's really easy to follow here over the wall for Smash. And Zeus just not that tanky. They have CC to back this up. They've got no jungler. Guma survives.
Flashed at the end there too.
Yeah, he survives, but he has to flash. There's no peel for him to do the damage necessary. It's too split up. They spent everything to try to get that Herald. They do not get the eye. And in the blink of the Herald's eye, we're at an even game state here. DPLUS back on the board.
And now Gumayusi has to play into this Jax, which now has almost a gold advantage. It's like 88, so it's not real, right? It's very, very slight.
But suddenly side lane threat as well as
exactly.
You just get one team fight like that, and bam! Now Jax starting to take turrets off the map is going to require resources to deal with this. Kiana is not that tanky. Two items here, 700 gold. He's, got the first one very cost efficiently, right? But is going to go splat if the team fights don't go well. And this suddenly a Smash that's very, very threatening. Not in this 2v2 here, but
exactly. Guma is still definitely to be feared on the Rift right now. As Fire Kick connects onto Keria. Smash looking a little worse for wear, but they still want to start something. Kanavi in such a cute position will just move his way in. Looks for Keria himself, who does have the wild growth, so that's why he's playing with a little bit more courage. As Shiu gets on top of Zeus, but Zeus kind of looks okay with it. Throws his crown over towards him. There are a lot of T1 skins in the game right now, by the way, this particular game. Zeka rocking Faker's one. I believe Smash has Gumayushi's one, which is very funny. Zeus has his own one. So yeah, there's just a lot of representation.
All right, Lucid here.
Oh, Lucid's got Cyanide's one. Not a T1 player.
Not going to have his Gromp either. He's obviously going to take that away from him. 40 seconds till his first Hextech Dragon. I mean, look, I'm so relieved that we actually get a game here in this third one, because for so much of that early game, it just looked like, even though Showmaker was pulling ahead, I didn't think they were going to have the agency, but HANWHA make a little bit of a mistake. Showmaker makes a proactive play, gets the first catch there. They've got the CC on the Herald fight. And HANWHA Life, something about that Baron pit today. It's given DPLUS big opportunities. They get the big punish, and now the game is really anyone's to take, right? It's a small lead for Shiyu, right? Zeka's not in this game in terms of gold relevance, but is still so much utility for this comp that's still very online right now, as Lucid's going to find out.
Yep, there is the scat of the week. Lucid still has to get out of there, though, because the heroic entrance is so scary. Smash also gets a big old shield, but the culling is going to come down. And just typewriter DK. Cataclysm comes in. Guma able to escape at the Arc of Ruin. So much damage onto Kanavi. Shiyu and Zeus are just fighting off to the side in their own sort of little battle here. And everyone else, I mean, there's a lot of damage that's been taken, but Honey Fruit advantage is here for HLE.
They're on the Dragon. They have full prio control. They do not...
Oh, teleport in.
Have a Gnar, and there's that TP from Showmaker. If he shows up, those health bars are pretty low. Kanavi is on a timer here.
Yeah, look at these health bars from HLE. They're going down so low, but Zeka makes his way in. Kanavi just explodes. Showmaker takes him out. The Drake is over there, and now Lucid trying to escape. Gumayusi is protected, and he gets the double kill. Now Showmaker is going to get taunted, and Guma dashes forward. We'll get some revenge. Scat of the week is fantastic, but the Justice Punch will come down. And Showmaker's on the floor. HLE, great team fight, and they get themselves the Drake.
And it's a big pendulum swing back into their favor after what was, I think, a great showcasing of the importance of priority on objectives. Even though Showmaker gets the wraparound, even though the poke was there and the health bars were low for HANWHA Life Esports, Showmaker can only find the kill on Kanavi, and it's a second too late to stop the Dragon. But look at the positional advantage that HANWHA find themselves in the larger fight here. Keria is forced to flash away. Zeka's exactly where he needs to be to deny any follow-up damage. Shiyu gets pushed out by Guma's damage. And even though Showmaker's here, there's a lot of low health bars. He can't get access to the ones he needs, and he used his ultimate on Kanavi. Sure, he got that kill, but the objective's still went over. He can't get out. It's 3 on the floor, and HANWHA Life Esports take the Dragon lead.
Man. All right, it's only 2 dragons, though. This is the crazy part, right? With 1 dragon apiece at the beginning of the game, does mean that DK, there's still a couple of Drakes to worry about before that soul is going to be coming on through. I don't know whether that is enough of a silver lining, though, to make them feel better. It's a 4-0-1 Gumayusi Lucian in this game. And there's now also a big lead for Kanavi. Which is kind of crazy. 1-3-1. It's still 1,000 gold ahead with just how much Lucid's been bullied this game.
Yeah, it's... Okay, hold up. Zeus.
He just steals it away! Oh, highway robbery. Lucid didn't have a smite. And now the outer turret in the mid lane is going to go down. This snowball definitely a-rolling. Smash, it always seems like he's on half health this game.
Well, it's because Guma keeps walking up to him, proccing his passive, and just putting hurt on him. It's not a great meta for Yunara right now. Ooh.
Cute little scatter comes in. Zeus wants to steal more of Lucid's stuff.
Lucid didn't have flash. If he has flash there, I think they probably try to make something of it, but can't really close the gap. Doesn't want to risk it with Kanavi right there. And Guma can really just walk up with impunity because he has Emilio with ult standing right next to him, as well as Kanavi on the cross. Yeah, very difficult to punish, and Lucid can't get access to the punish there on the Zeus, can't get access to the solution. And it's like HANWHA have Baron.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Cataclysm comes in though. Kanavi, supreme display of talent comes down. He flashes, he takes out Showmaker, but Showmaker does get the orb on the ground. Lucid, oh, bit of a misplay there. Does claim the wild growth and stays alive just barely. Felt like a little bit of an unforced error that didn't go punished that time.
A trade of kills like this, I feel like, is pretty good for DPLUS, all things considered, especially because the Jax is in the side lane here, is probably going to get a plate at best on this turret, but has been given a lot of extra time to pick up some additional money and experience here. He's a whole level behind, so he needs it really badly. It also means that the real backbone of this comp for HANWHA Esports can't continue to put the pressure on here. I think they could have been content with just pushing this turret and controlling the mid lane, but they wanted more. And yes, they got Showmaker, but it's a trade here, and they are unfortunately unable to get more as this wild growth here for Keria.
Oh, it was the kickback from Delight. Never mind. I'm sorry, Lucid. I will put respect back on your name because he was just kicked out of range.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really cute.
And without Keria being in that exact right moment, right spot there, trying his best to press the wild growth. I remember when just a few months ago, Keria was trying to wild growth people who were dead 1,000%, wasting his ultimate, coming in too late. He's made a large improvement since then as a player all around, even though Lu's not as relevant as it used to be. And this fight was a desperate save that was, again, more about other aspects of it, but he had the wild growth. If that wasn't there, would have died either way. But HANWHA Esports are in such a commanding position in this game still, despite the extra time that Shiu had there, despite the fact that that was a 1-for-1 as Showmaker went down. They just have full control over this next dragon as well. And that's where DPLUS struggled last time. This time they don't have the Showmaker flank.
And also, they don't have an Infinity Edge on Smash. Gumayusi just finished that. This is a perfect item spike for HLE to play around.
They got a 100-0 Guma somehow, and they just don't have access.
Well, I think Lucid's going to be the first 100-0 as Slurkle does connect onto Gumayusi. He takes a fair bit of damage, but that is no jungler. And therefore, no problem for HLE as Zeki looking to try and follow up. The rest of HLE, oh man, they are moving towards the Baron. And they might just be able to take this.
Okay, HLE on the Baron. No answer, no jungler. They're going to take the dragon in return, which will be a 2-2 dragon status here. And also Shiu is going to get this whole turret, it looks like.
Yeah, so Zeus is going to try and chase him down. Grandmaster's Might comes in. Drake now secured for DPLUS.
Ooh, they almost baited Zeus in. Well, I guess I can't say that for sure, but they were trying to bait Zeus in. Zeus does not go any further there, trying to get the kill onto the Jax. Would have probably lost his life for it, which would have been a big win for DPLUS. DPLUS keep getting these unseemingly possible wins despite everything, but it's still just not enough, as maybe they'll get this unforeseen win on the Zeka as well with this TP flank from Shiu. It's going to take a while.
Justice Punch is going to be interrupted, but Zeka just gets out of there. And he's got Imperial Mandate now. He basically doesn't have cooldowns. It's just kind of ridiculous. So HLE, let's see how much of this Baron they can actually utilize, right? Because it is, you know, it's already a pretty good Rebel Baron power play, but I think Soul Point is so valuable, especially when it's Hextech Soul. And they did forego that in order to get the purple worm.
Yeah, and that's temporary compared to Soul Point being something you're going to have for, well, until you get Soul.
Yeah.
As Zeus has a Gnar here, but trying to dive this could be risky, especially to Showmaker having Peel here, as well as Lucid's Cataclysm. Just be happy with the inner, I think is what HLE are thinking. Yep, and they will just take this one down and further their lead. We're only 25 minutes into this game, so they don't need to break the base open right now. I think they are very aware that they are massively ahead. There's still no IE for Smash. It should be getting it pretty soon here, but Guma's got half of his next item. TP committed from Zeka. They are going to try to siege this base open now. If DPLUS make a mistake, it could be even more they get.
Yeah, Scatter does come in. Zeus takes a fair bit of damage there, but nothing to worry about. They are just now chasing Shiu away. He dives in, supreme display of talent, but he goes golden with that arm guard that he just purchased. Still breaking that is so dangerous. Does have flash, might need to use it defensively, holds onto it, which is crazy.
Guma doesn't flinch. He doesn't flash in this situation. He waits to see if Shiu's going to commit further. He had so many teammates nearby. I think it was the right call from Shiu to back out there and not try to commit. The rest of their teammates peel. Buy some time on what's left of this Baron. It looks like no inhibitors nor their turrets will go down on this 25-minute Baron, and in 40 seconds, it will expire. DPLUS are hanging on by a thread. The IE is done for Smash now so late in this game, but every single fight for the rest of this game can be won by DPLUS if for any reason Guma is caught and burst down, and they have a lot of tools. Guma's positioning has been phenomenal this game. He has 0 deaths to his name, and so far, with the control they have right now, it's hard to imagine that they will catch him, but if they do, that's a big if, there might be a window back in, and DPLUS are always going to be fishing for that angle.
Yep. And Zeka can also provide so much safety for this Lucian as well. This Galio is going to be a big problem moving later on into the game because diving onto Gumayusi can often be a one-way trip if the Gargoyle just flies down on top. And then you have Kanavi and Zeus with decent damage there as well. As Kanavi going to get his back stopped here. Does back away.
Through the edge of night, took a little bit of extra doing to get it done, but they do stop his back. Not going to be too significant. The Dragon is a whole minute and a half away.
Yeah, and it's only for a third Drake on either side.
Serpent's
Not
Fang.
ridiculous. That's 4 items done for Kanavi.
He has, as long as he's hitting these squishy targets, which are basically everyone here for D+, especially the most important ones, the ones that are doing the damage, they don't last very long, and it's the most cost-efficient way to get your Kiana to 4 items with the lead he has. Makes a ton of sense. That's how he's going to optimize here. He's 3 levels up on Lucid. But in a longer fight, if there's no one to kill Smash, Guma dies, could still do it. I'm just writing the, I'm doing the caster thing where I lay out what could go wrong. It's not over till it's over. It looks very over, but the base is still up. And like you said, this is not Hextech Soul because they forwent it for that Baron instead moments ago. Showmaker picks up Crypt Bloom. Small piece-by-piece tools making this D+ roster formidable the longer we go into this game.
But he doesn't even have a lead anymore. Zeka has just been so much freer in these side lanes. Taunt is going to be fantastic here from Zeka as Gumayusi will execute Lucid. Absolutely nothing he can do. She throws down the counter-strike. Slurkle is decent to try and stop Gumayusi from just murdering everyone, but that is only going to delay the inevitable. And with Lucid dead, that is a guaranteed Dragon here in 20 seconds.
Now, this pick is just a symptom of the larger problem here. D+ have no real estate they can operate around on this map, and now without a jungler, trying to contest for Dragon Prio is not even a possibility. As you mentioned, Zeka's ahead now because he's been sitting inside so long because he could follow from so far away, and then even in this situation, he turns an engage into a double taunt, into a knock-up, and into the burst damage here from Guma, who's so ready to follow up. Shiu's been able to soak these callings with his counter-strikes to escape, but it doesn't get them anything back. Guma's going to solo the Baron because he's so large in this game that he doesn't need anyone's help. Kanavi comes over to help secure.
Helps anyway. But yes, was absolutely unnecessary. He's got 4 items and Lucid has 2 and then a funny shirt and a small sword. Yeah. Kanavi looks like he's at like the end of the RPG, like talking to his friend who's still like trying to play the tutorial, you know? That's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah, it looks like Kanavi's at the save point before the final boss, and Lucid is like just got to disc 2.
Yeah, he's like, wait, this game has a new game plus, and Kanavi's like, yes, indeed, it does, sir. Yeah, this is a very scary Kiana, is what I'm trying to say. 4.4k, it's just a massive lead. Still, I mean, doesn't have a lot of help to his name. There's like, you know, there's things you can say.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there are ways this could go wrong, which is why HLE still need to play this carefully. They play this crisply, but now the Baron's up.
Yeah, ultimate invested here from Shiu as well. Lucid looking for Gumayusi. It's a lot of burst damage. The culling comes down. Shiu has found Zeka. Taunt comes in, Justice punches down, but there's the leap strike back up again. Solo kill for the Jax, and he's starting to become, well, he's begun becoming a big problem.
Guma does not have flash now. So again, that's the whole crux of what happens in this game. Guma, to win this game, needs to keep that 0 a 0. Now he has no flash, and if he dies on a potential Baron take here for HLE, which is much less likely, much less appealing without it, or on this attempt to get Hextech Soul, again, everything could fall apart in just an instant. Like I said, Kanavi has 4,000 of this gold lead, and if he just goes splat as well because he's not tanky, his Edge of Night will buy him a little bit of space, but if he gets caught by a stray scatter without it, and follow-up from Lucid is there, he just dies as well. So they really need to be extremely cautious. Guma's reaction time there and how he played it was brilliant, but because of it, and because of the position he was in before that, he is now flashless, which could be, again, a potential way.
A potentially dangerous. Wait, Shiu, what are we doing, buddy? He's gonna have to leap strike his way out. He does manage to do that. The tiniest little supreme display of talent comes in. Shiu goes golden momentarily, but he's just dead. Zeka might be traded, but I don't know whether it's worth. Smash at least picks up that kill. 4 versus 4, no Jax, no Galio. And Zeus with no Narbar as well. And Smash will soon not have an ultimate. They're just waiting for that one to be gone. As Gumayusi gets Cataclysm and he's knocked up, but it's not going to work. Kanavi taken out, Smash. He goes down and Smash is taking matters into his own hands. They've killed the carry. Zeus, the last man standing with just a light. That is not going to work. I think DK have done it.
I think the Flag Drag interrupted Guma's dash. It's like he was dashing forward midair. He just barely got caught on the edge of it, and Smash comes in, follows up with the burst. Guma's dead, and this Baron is up for grabs here. They are rushing through the Hex Gates to come over, but I think they are just going to have to watch as this one fades away. DPLUS are still 4,000 gold behind, but this could change everything. No jungle here for the contest. Zeus level 19.
They're going to try and turn. They're looking for it. As there is no smite in this pit. Zeus does manage to hit the Mega, but there is the kill from Showmaker. He moves himself out. Look at these health bars, they're so low. And there's a heroic entrance. Down goes Keria. She is once again in a really awkward spot. And Lucid looking to make his way into the Baron pit. He is going to get in. That will be Baron secured. Can he get out? That's the question. I don't know whether he can, but I don't know whether it matters. He can. Never you mind. DPLUS now find themselves almost in an advantage.
Guma's respawn. I don't know if they could push this wave in to try to at least make sure this mid wave is so far away. Now, keep in mind, there is still a mid-outer turret to go through here for DPLUS. We are so far away. Just watch Guma in this fight. Initially, it looks like, okay, Shiu's overextended here. This is a disaster. But Kanavi and Zeka go far forward here, and now Smash has an angle to play through. Yes, Shiu sacrificed himself on the other side, but Zeka just turns to paper. And now, Guma's trying to rejoin Kanavi because he needs damage for Peel because he's not tanky. And watch Guma. It is insane, this angle here for Lucid. Guma walks forward. It's crazy. He's just on the edge.
Scatter as
and
well.
And the ultimate stops the scatter, but it's just in that split second that gives Smash just enough reprieve to follow up and burst him down. And then here in this moment, Zeus is definitely alone, not going to be able to get this done, but they have Hexgate. This is a really calculated play from HLE to come over here to try to deny. So the Baron doing so much work, he gets Mega, and Delight stays, which looks crazy because he's Emilio 1v3, but it's because he wants to give the taxi to the Galio. Gets the kill onto the Lulu, but they cannot finish off Smash, and this buys enough time for Lucid to come in here and secure the smite. Crazy game we were watching. It looked like it was going to be a one-sided affair, but like we said so many times, all it takes is that one catch. Oh
my God, Shiu, stop it! He is just playing right on the edge here in this incredibly pivotal deciding game between DK and HLE. He's now diving in towards Zeka. The inhibitor turret in the bottom lane almost died, by the way, as Gumayusi, he's got so much burst damage every time Smash moves forward like that.
Splash is
so
back.
Scary. Culling, not really doing too much here. As the taunt is set up by Zeka, but the scatter hits onto Kanavi, taking a lot of damage. Supreme Display of Talent comes down, Lucid finds a Cataclysm, but he dies. There is Zeka going down so incredibly low, and it's Smash that gets into the front line and looks to obliterate. Gumayusi too far away from the battlefield, and it's Smash that dashes in, picks up the triple, and you best believe that third one felt the best.
DPLUS cut HLE in half. Guma couldn't rejoin the fight. The haphazard plays from Shiu finally pay off. Look at Lucid's face.
Yeah, Showmaker's popping off as well, man.
They are riding the momentum from Paris, and this squad says maybe the second international title was greater than the first, and they'll take HLE out in the first matchup of the Legend Group between these two. Unbelievable turnaround from